Hey Math, it's Miss Bird again. We're going to start a new unit today. This unit is going to be about slopes and y-intercepts of linear equations of lines on graphs. You have a foldable that has several different sections on it. We're going to look at a couple of sections today, and each day we'll do a few more. If you'll turn over the first tab, we'll start with that. Our first tab, slope. Slope describes how steep a line is. It is the ratio of the change in y to the change in x. So if you've ever been skiing, you know that different mountains have a different slope. It tells you how steep the mountain is. So slope in math tells us how steep a line is. If you'll draw this picture on the back of your first tab under slope mountain, we're going to have a nice easy way to remember how we find the slope of a line. Now, slope mountain, when we read a graph, you're going to read left to right, just like you read a book. So on our slopes, we're going to go left to right. Our first slope we're going to look at is a positive slope. It is going up from left to right. This is a positive slope. If you will please label going up the mountain, it is positive. So any line that goes up from left to right will have a positive slope for its number. Then we go down the mountain. This is a negative slope. When you go down from left to right, it is negative. So any slope that we find for a line that is decreasing should have a negative number. After we get down the mountain, we get stuck in the snow and we start rolling along. When we start rolling along, this is a zero slope. Also, if you think about the line at the top of the zero, zero goes horizontally, the z, so that is our zero slope. And then our last one is a vertical line. When you have a vertical line, it is undefined. It's U-N-D-E-F-I-N-E-D, undefined. An easy way to remember this is the U in undefined has a vertical line. So an undefined slope goes up and down vertically. To find the slope of a line, we said the slope was the change in y over the change in x. It's the ratio of how our y's change to how our x's change. When we find the slope on a graph, we say rise over run. Remember, your y values are the ones that go up and down. Your x values go side to side. So when we find our slope, it's always going to be our rise over our run. When we do this, we're going to pick 2 points on this graph, and I'll show you, we're going to make a triangle between these 2 points. So on your graph, I want you to put a point at -3, -2, and a point at 0, 4. We're going to find the slope of this line using these 2 points. So use your pencil, put a point at -3, -2, and a point at +0, +4. Now we can use right triangles to help us find our rise and our run. Going from -3, -2, we're going to count our rise. Draw your right triangle. We rise. Now, we go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces. So our rise is going to be 6. Now we're going to run to our line. We're running over to the right 3 spaces. So our rise for this line is up 6. We went up, it's a positive, and then we went to the right 3. So our slope is 6 over 3, which reduces to 2. This line has a slope of 2. Now, it doesn't matter which points you pick on the line. I'm going to show you with another one. We're going to make a similar right triangle using this. If you want to use a separate color, you can. Let's pick a different pair of points, like the point -2, 0, and the point -1, 2. Let's find the rise and the run between these 2 points. From -2, 0, we rise 2, and then we run 1. Notice these triangles are similar. Similar means they are the same shape but different sizes. So for the red triangle on your screen, we went up 2, our rise was 2, and then we ran to the right 1. When we go up, that's a positive number. When we go to the right, it's a positive number. So 2 divided by 1, or 2 over 1, reduces to 2. So no matter which points we pick on the line, our slope will be the same. All the way across our line, our slope is 2. It doesn't matter which pair of points we pick. And we've shown this with these similar right triangles. So the long side of our right triangle will always have an equivalent slope. Alright, now underneath the tab for slope, I want you to draw a coordinate plane. So we've done the graph that's there. Now we're going to draw our own. Draw your x and y axis, and you're going to go to about +5 and -5 in each direction. Remember, your x-axis is horizontal and your y-axis is vertical. If you need to pause the video while you're drawing this, please do so. And then we're going to put a point on our graph. We're going to put a point at +2, -2. So to the right 2 and down 2, we're going to put a point. We're going to put a point at 0, 1. And then I want you to draw a line through the ordered pairs that you just plotted. We're going to put arrows on the end of our graph to show that this keeps going. And now we're going to find the slope. The slope is rise over run. We're going to use our right triangle to help us find the rise and the run. So starting on our first point at 2, -2. To get to our next point, we're going to go up 1, 2, 3 spaces. So our rise is +3 when we go up on the graph. That's the positive direction. Then we're going to go to the left 2 spaces. When we go to the left, that's in the negative direction. So our run is -2. Our right triangle helps us find our rise and our run. The rise is vertical, the run is horizontal. So we went up 3, and then we went to the left, which is a -2. So the slope of this line is 3 over -2. You want to leave this a fraction. This cannot be reduced, so we're going to end up with 3 over -2. Now, my negative can go in front of my fraction. It can go with the 3 or the 2. Typically, we're going to put it in front as -3/2. It does not matter which point you start at. If we had started at 0, 1, we would have ended up going down 3. Going down on the graph is -3, and going to the right is +2. So we could have also said we went -3 and we ran 2, which is the same slope. Our slope is -3/2. So it doesn't matter which point you start at as long as you do your vertical change and then your horizontal change. In class tomorrow, we're going to work on slope. Slope is rise over run. It's the change in y values, those are the vertical values, over the change in the x values. It's the ratio of the change in y to the change in x. And we knew to start out with that this slope was going to be negative. If you think back to our slope mountain, remember we're going down the mountain from left to right. That's a negative slope, and we ended up with a negative slope when we found our rise and our run. If you have any questions, make sure to jot them down for class tomorrow.